Hello everybody, welcome back to another Blox Fruits video, and today's video was going to be on things I see a lot of beginners do that you really should not do in this game. Obviously I'm taking inspiration, I've seen this video done quite a bit, but they all kind of regurgitate very similar points, and none of them really fucking like deviate from that, and I'm gonna give like some actual tips that could give you like a shitload of help, because grinding in this game, especially the first C, is very fucking boring, dude. Oh, the first scene of this game fucking sucks. And I usually tell people it doesn't get good really until the second and third sea, which is where this game really opens up. You get a lot more options, you get more variety in your stab, you can do a lot of different builds, you can awaken your fruits, you can get really good swords, you do a lot, you know, you get a lot unlocked when you get to the second and third sea. But the first sea just has basically nothing. The only thing worth note in the first sea is the Bacento and Bacento V2. Everything else is either just like really specific or just not worth like your time. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing is people I'll see join this game and they appear to just not know what the fuck they're doing. And I think this is mainly the fault of the game. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like this game really does not explain shit to new players. It's just, here's the game. The first thing you see is Marine Pirate, you click on that and then you fucking play, and it just kind of like, you just kind of expected to just know what you're supposed to be doing. It would be nice if the game kind of like showed up a pop-up or something for like 5 seconds. It's like, hey, click on the quest giver, do the quest, go from island to island, and then do the quest there. It's kind of weird. I see a lot of new players like just kind of floating around and they don't really seem to know what they're doing, and they'll end up leaving more often than that. Now of course that is like, that's on them for not being intelligent enough to figure that out, because I'm gonna, come on, this is a kid's game. It's really not that hard to see this big ass fucking exclamation point, walk over and click the quest button. But hey, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not wrong. Next thing is, I see a lot of players sitting on the jungle island and they like to beg for fruits quite a bit. Most people will just kind of sit here, and whoever the fuck they see, they will prominently beg, harass, whatever the fuck, until they get their hands on a fruit. When in reality, you don't fucking need a fruits, dude. Like, just play the damn game. This is the first sea. Like, I find it very annoying. Like, I find beggars to be the worst kind of people in these kinds of games, because like, why would I want to give you fucking anything when you yourself don't even know if you like the game yet? Like, for all I know, I could give you a good fruit and you'll just fucking quit, you know? So at the end of the day, I'm just wasting my time, my money, and effort for you when I don't even know if you're going to commit to this game. At the end of the day, if you want a fruit, you come just talk to this guy on this island and you buy it, and then that's the end of it, right? Now, I get it. You know, you just want a fruit because it's cool. But in reality, the only fruits you need to worry about are Logia types. And those who don't know what a Logia type is, put it more simply, it's like the elemental type of fruits. They'll turn you into like fire, light, magma, snow, ice, you know, whatever the fuck you can think of, that. Right, and those fruits are the best for beginners because they turn you into intangible people, so you can't be hit by enemies. You are a higher level man, making grinding very easy. The only thing that can hit you are like bosses and shit, and a lot of people don't really get that. Like, they don't really get the gist of that, and it's just like, you just get a Logia type, use the Logia type, and then get through the first sea, and then worry about getting your hands on an actual good fruit, because the first sea is incredibly easy. Like, you don't need like overpowered fruits like Buddha, Kitsune, or Dragon, or anything. You don't need anything like that to get through the first sea. The second sea is much tougher. Like, you're probably not going to get away with using just a Logia type, because a lot of enemies will start using Haki, and they'll actually be able to hit you, even if you are a higher level than them. And it really won't matter. And a lot of the bosses in the second tier are much more difficult. So if you don't have a really strong damaging fruit like magma, light, ice, or anything like that that is like very strong on its own, you're gonna struggle quite a bit against most players, or not most players, most bosses. And so yeah, just don't sit here wasting your time begging, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get anything good or worth your time. You're not going to get anything, like, you're not going to get anything besides wasted effort. Maybe you'll get that one guy who pities you and will drop you a fruit, and that's fine. I mean, if that's what your goal is, to get at least one fruit before you continue on, I get that, because obviously that's the goal. That's what I just said. You know, you want to get yourself a Logia and then move on. But if you can't get one, then so be it. You know, continue grinding. Don't waste your time. because the more you grind, the more likely you are to get better fruits anyways, and then you can come back to buy fruits from this guy anytime you want, so you don't have to worry about begging up for, you know, idiots like this for their fruits. I don't know why he's holding out a venom, but yeah, he has. Look at him. He wants to show me that. Thank you, Mr. Durka Jihad guy. Thank you so much. And the third thing I want to talk about is I see a lot of newer players not using the wiki. The wiki in this game is going to give you all of the information that you need for questing and for the more obscure quests for like things like the Saber V2 or Saber in general, which is a very strong C1 sword that you can get at level 200. It is one of the strongest swords in the game, surprisingly. Decent for PvP, very good for grinding, and very decent in sea events. It's a good all-rounder sword. It's a sword that sets a standard for good swords in this game. A lot of the weapons in this game are very underlooked, and this sword you can get in C1. And to get the version 2 of the sword, you need to kill another player. You don't actually need to kill another player with the Saber. That's actually a common misconception. You just need to kill another player, and you will obtain Saber V2. Saber V2 is a very solid sword. It is not the strongest of the swords in the game, but it does its job, and it can carry you through C2 quite well until you get something like Midnight Blade or Rengoku, which are arguably much more powerful than those two swords, and offer a much wider range of abilities and powers that Saber really can't give you, like good AoE, good damage, good movement. Like Midnight Blade is very strong in combos and is really good in PvP in my opinion. It's one of my favorite weapons in PvP. So yeah, I mean, using the wiki can easily help you out with pretty much anything you need or want. Most players will just completely ignore the wiki, or will just pretend like it just doesn't exist. Is that the wiki is the most valuable resource for any player, and again, a lot of it does drum down to the developers just being fucking lazy and not wanting to explain anything to the player, or making things just easier for the player to understand, like quests. And when I say quests, I don't mean the ones that you just click on, you go kill 8 enemies, and then you grab the quest skin. I mean the actual quests in this game that have you go around doing random shit. And one of those quests is Saber V2, because in Saber V2, it does not explain anything to you. What if I told you had to go around this island, press a bunch of buttons, go into the middle here, grab a fucking a torch, go to the desert island, put the torch in there, and then you come back over here, and this door right here is going to open, and you're going to fight a fucking boss. What if I told you that? You wouldn't know how to do that by yourself, not without the wiki. Half of this shit is so obscure and doesn't explain anything to you. Most of the time, you're just going to sit here like a fool, or just completely miss out on content that you didn't even know existed without the wiki. The same thing goes for getting Race V2 and Race V3, because both of those things you need to do a quest for that is very not difficult, but very hard to understand, and it is literally, you have to look it up to figure it out. Or you, of course, you could have a nice guy to help you out, which is fine too, you know, someone to explain it to you. That's cool too. Again, I'm not saying that the game should hold your hand through it, but it should definitely be more accessible for the player, like better explained, and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely use the wiki if you haven't already. And it's a website. It's all you do is you go through it, learn how to navigate it. It's not hard. It's the most valuable asset, and I know I keep harping on about it and keep explaining things about it, but I definitely think that the wiki is something very underutilized by a lot of players. So yeah, make sure you use the wiki. And the next thing up is going to be not trading. Not trading is a pretty big detriment to most players, as trading in this game can be very helpful because it does allow you to skip out on a lot of grinding and can actually save you a lot of time. Now, what do I mean by not trading? What I mean is there's a Discord server. If you don't have Discord, you might want to get it, but even then, you don't really need Discord to trade, because you could just go into public lobbies and talk to people there. Well, you can make sure you go into like your trading chats and ask people how to trade and stuff like that to get an idea of values, because a lot of people are gonna want your items, your fruits, whatever the fuck, in exchange for services, and those services could be V4 awakenings for your race. It could be, you know, finding Mirage Island to get the blue gear. It can be a lot of things. I definitely recommend you start trading and looking into getting help from other players, because it will save you a shitload of grinding. It will save you a bunch of time. The only deficit and the only issue with it is that you do have to give up some pretty expensive fruits in order to get some of these things, like a sea beast, or not sea beast, a leviathan, or leviathan skills and leviathan hearts, or stuff like that. So it's just like, think about it, you know, obviously consider and weigh your options, if what you need and what you don't need. It's always good to make friends in this game if you can, so you can understand prices and stuff like that. And don't be afraid to talk to people, you know. While it's always good to do things on your own, like getting help from another person is a welcome blessing. So make sure you like just go out of your way to learn and talk to other people to get help, because this game is kind of a pain in the ass to grind on your own. Like grinding out Mirage Island took one of my good friends, Cosmic Vib, took him about, I believe, 2 days straight of grinding just to get the blue gear, when I know there are people that can help you out that can find it super easily. And what do I mean by that is that the more people are around you in a boat, the more likely you are to find Mirage Island to get the blue gear. A lot of people really don't know that. So, and I wouldn't have figured that out if it wasn't for me asking for help and trading for that help. So, if you get any rare fruits, don't immediately eat them or anything like that. Keep them around and go ahead and sell them to other players to get your hands on things like True Triple Katana, because there are people that will actually go around looking for those swords like True Triple Katana and stuff like that. And yeah, it's definitely very helpful to learn how to trade with other players. The only issue is that you can end up getting scammed if you're not careful. And make sure, guys, a big thing is don't click on any links. If someone sends you a link, make sure that it is actually a legit private server link. If they can't add you, then they are a scammer. You know what I mean? What I always tell people is if they're trying to send me a private server link, I'm like, hey man, can you add me? I don't trust your link. And if they say no, then they're a scammer. If they say yes, then of course they're not a scammer, and you just add them and join their private server link or whatever, their public server, and then, you know, all's good, you know, all's good, all as well as ends well, and stuff like that. So it's a big thing. Don't get scammed. Don't be stupid. Well, all these things in the videos are very subjective, and not everyone has to listen to them. And a lot of the points were kind of scratchy. Of course, remember, guys, none of these videos are scripted, so please excuse that. And I'm going to gripe on a lot of things because I feel like new players don't really know what they're doing, and I just want people to have the best and smoothest time in this game. And this is how I play through this game. It's how my buddies play through the game. You know, I recommend you take your time and enjoy the game, you know. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys so much for watching, as always. And if you hated the video, please dislike it and leave a mean comment down below and tell me why you don't like it. I do appreciate all criticism, and it is the only way to grow on YouTube. And I also appreciate and read all of my comments, even if they're mean ones. And remember, guys, if you leave a mean comment down there that is not constructive, you are just giving me engagement. So the best way to hate the video is to dislike it and move on. So please, please, make sure you like the video, dislike the video, don't really give a shit, and I'll see you in the next one.